So political commentator Kyle Kulinski talks a lot about Joe Rogan's political shift.
You are just immensely cooked. Fall for every fucking right-wing dumbass story from the outrage machine. I mean, he's just turned into a Fox News grandpa. That's what's happened. Feed me my narrative I love. Yeah, liberals and Democrats are stupid. Yeah, MAGA's so based, bro.
Rogan flipped from endorsing Bernie Sanders in 2020.
Who are you going to vote for in the primary?
I think I'll probably vote for Bernie. I believe in him. I like him. I like him a lot.
To endorsing Donald Trump in 2024.
And it just came over the wires that Joe Rogan just endorsed me. Is that right?
Two politicians that have polar opposite ideologies. Joe Rogan, as you may know, hosts one of the most popular podcasts in the world. To say he has a gigantic audience would be an understatement. Kyle Kulinski has appropriately pointed out that Joe Rogan's hard shift to the right is a huge deal, given how much influence his show has on the younger male demographic. So why did Joe Rogan flip? How did he go from being a Democratic Socialist, which is what Bernie Sanders is and who he endorsed in the 2020 primaries, to endorsing a far-right authoritarian Donald Trump just a few short years later? The short answer is the COVID-19 pandemic broke his brain. Some people say that he has brainworms. Brainworms, if you're unfamiliar with the term, is a colloquial internet slang term, not a medical one, used to describe someone whose thinking has become irrational, obsessive, or distorted, usually because of bad information, propaganda, or ideology. It's often used sarcastically or pejoratively. Now, in my estimation, Rogan's brain broke because of 7 reasons. I'm going to list them off first, and then after I'll break down each one. But first, if you'd please give this video a like and subscribe if you're not doing so already, it'll help me accomplish my goal of getting 1,000 subscribers, and I'm getting pretty close. So like I said, I'm gonna list the 7 points first, and then after I'll break down each one. And you may recognize some of these points because Kyle's commentary inspired me to make this, so shout out to him, of course. The first reason Joe Rogan's brain broke is because his friend group consists of mostly MAGA athletes and conservative comedians. Number 2, the COVID vaccine and lockdown misinformation tainted his view of the Democratic Party. Number 3, Rogan was largely against mask mandates, which was mainly a right-wing view at the time. Number 4, he lost his childlike curiosity. And this point I definitely got from Kyle because he talks about it quite often. Number 5, Elon Musk. The 6th reason Joe Rogan's brain broke is because he became audience captured. His younger male audience became influenced by the manosphere, and I'll dive into that, of course. The 7th reason is something I call disaffected voter syndrome. Okay, so back to number 1. Joe is surrounded by MAGA comedians and athletes. I think of the Tony Hinchcliffes, the Brian Callens of the world. I think Brian is Joe's best friend, if I'm not mistaken. He's a conservative comedian.
Actual insanity. When you have men who can go to women's prisons and get 2 women pregnant before they get moved, you say you're a woman for 3 months and you have balls and a beard and get put into a women's prison. This is why you say, how did I come out of the closet? You want to call me right wing? You want to call me a conservative? I'm a proud conservative now.
Joe is surrounded by the MAGA UFC bros, you know, like the Dana Whites of the world, who are just pure MAGA. And when you're best buds with people in MAGA, it's likely that you'll become sympathetic to their ideology. And that's what happened to Joe. Number 2 was COVID vaccine and lockdown misinformation tainted his view of the Democratic Party. So during the pandemic, Rogan's dissent of authority grew exponentially. It was popular in right-wing circles to dissent from the vaccine and from lockdowns. Joe Rogan grew to distrust the government's information on vaccines and lockdown mandates. The 3rd reason is sort of tied to the previous one. Rogan was largely against mask mandates during the pandemic, which was mainly a right-wing thing at the time. It was cool in right-wing circles to be against these mandates, and much of the disdain for it stemmed from a perverted view of freedom, right? Many on the right thought that being forced to wear a mask in public meant that their personal freedoms were being taken.
My children will not come to school on Monday with a mask on. All right? That's not happening. And I will bring every single gun loaded and ready to, I will call every...
Okay, that's 3 minutes.
Many said, it's my body, my choice, which led to a lot of good Jordan Klepper content.
But for many Trump rally goers, this was a face diaper of oppression. Why no mask?
Frankly, I forgot it in my car.
Why aren't you wearing a mask?
I mean, again, it's a personal choice, I think. If everybody was wearing them and everybody said put a mask on, I would respect everybody's wishes and put it on. We're not cheap. We're lions.
You're not cheap. But if everybody here was wearing masks.
If everybody was wearing, but again, we're not cheap.
You're not cheap.
We're not.
So you're going to look at what everybody's doing and you're going to follow
That's
along.
it.
Yeah. But not cheap.
Not cheap.
What's wrong with having children wear masks in school?
Well, you're breathing in the toxins that your body is trying to get rid of.
How do surgeons do it?
That is a good question.
Number 4, Rogan lost his childlike curiosity. Rogan used to have a mantra that was something like, never be content with the current way of thinking, or something like that. And like Kyle Kulinski talks about, Joe used to have this childlike curiosity. It reminded me of a scientist, scientists are always trying to prove themselves wrong. For example, in astrophysics, there's theories about how the Big Bang started. Scientists are actively researching and developing hypotheses that can prove the current models wrong. They're never content with having an answer to something. And this reminds me a lot of how Rogan used to be. But it seems he has ditched that perspective as well. Number 5, Rogan idolizes Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is someone who he had many conversations with leading up to the 2024 election. Rogan sees Elon as this mega genius, perhaps as a more evolved human. He thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread. Now, Elon Musk, of course, paid over $270 million to help Donald Trump win the election. And Elon is just an opportunist, right? He saw an opportunity to increase his wealth and power by pretending to have a conservative political ideology. Trump and the Republican Party was the perfect vessel, the perfect suckers, to help him accomplish his trillionaire vision. And Rogan fell for his shtick over and over again. Number 6 is the Manosphere. If you're not familiar, the Manosphere is a network of podcasts and online communities geared toward influencing young men. Think of the Theo Vons, the Andrew Schultz, and many more. This Manosphere heavily influenced Rogan's audience, and I believe Rogan got audience captured, meaning his audience turned to the right wing, then Rogan started bringing on more conservative guests to please his audience, which in turn impacted him more. The 7th and final point, and I think this one's really important, is what I call disaffected voter syndrome. So Rogan's political journey mirrors a broader trend of voters who supported Bernie Sanders in 2020 and later shifted toward Trump in 2024. And this shift reflects a desire for anti-establishment leadership. It represents dissatisfaction with traditional political structures. This was a trend in New York as well, where a surprising number of people voted both for Donald Trump and for AOC, two politicians who couldn't be further apart ideologically, but both were seen as representing change. They also offered a sense of authenticity that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris simply did not. Biden and Harris, to many, represent the traditional status quo and the establishment. Donald Trump, although I'd argue is even more establishment than Biden or Harris, to many people, he represents change. Not change to political structures per se, but more so change in style of leadership. So those are the 7 ways in which I believe Joe Rogan slowly morphed into a MAGA shill.
He's lost his mind. He's lost his mind. Joe's fucking lost his mind. There's no hope. He's going, gone.
I heard in recent podcasts that he's told his guests that he's still nonpartisan and that he wouldn't call himself a Republican. I think that's silly. That's just so silly. He endorsed Donald Trump, the central figure of the Republican Party. He has Republicans on his podcast all the time and doesn't offer any substantive pushback.
Joe Rogan's show over the past year or two has become the coddle the robber barons hour. He seemingly can't go a month without bringing on some billionaire oligarch robber baron criminal. He had Mark Zuckerberg on, he had Peter Thiel on, he had Elon Musk on, he had Mark Andreessen on. He loves to bring in these mega wealthy elites. His show now, half the time, at least, is the Elon Musk suckfest experience. Like, it just is. It like meat riding Elon 24/7. It's like he's never heard a single argument against anything Elon is doing. He does this really beta cuck thing where he's like, oh, my puny brain could never live up to the amazing big brain of Elon Musk. Oh, he's such a mega genius. I don't even feel human when I'm near him because he's just so smart. Oh, Elon, can I give you a hand job?
If you liked this video and you want to see me make more like it, please like and subscribe and all that shit. It'll show me that there's enough people out there that find this content useful. So thank you guys for watching, and yeah, see you next time.